Hare Krishna, and welcome to this video on the Bhagavad-gita, chapter 1, verse 1. In this video, I am focusing on producing a simple English translation of verse 1. And along the way, I'm also going to mention some things that might be problematic or things that one should take into consideration when making an English rendering. Before we start, however, it is important to note that I'm not trying to be very poetic in English here, neither in the sense of trying to replicate the verse meter in the English rendering, nor by using any flowery or embellished language. So our goal here is a very literal translation that is simple and straightforward. Note also that I'm using the recomposed version of this verse that we developed in an earlier video, in which we have already arranged the words using a standardized Sanskrit subject-object-verb order. So the order which you see now in front of you on this worksheet is not the original order of the words as arranged in the original text in the Gita. Alright, so we have prepared the word order for a translation, so let's just dig in, and we will first zoom in as usual here to get a little better view. So let's start with clause 1 here. Dhritarastrah uvaca. So we know that this is a person, it's a proper noun, and it is the old king here. Dhritarastrah. So he's the subject of this clause here, and so he's the speaker, and it is he who said. And now I'm putting a colon here just to highlight that this is not the part of the core clauses of this verse. This is just an intro, as is done in many verses, or just before many verses. And so I'm pointing out that with the colon here, I'm pointing out that we really haven't started the real verse yet. This is just the intro. Okay, so that's the intro then, and then we have sanjaya, and as we have discussed before, this is a vocative, so it's an address of a person. You do an address, oh sanjaya. So there is not much to do about that more than what is already done here. But of course we could have something like that. We could have done an exclamation mark here just to point out that this, like we're pointing out the addressing more explicitly, and like that. Oh, sanjaya, like that. But we will not actually be doing that. We'll just add a comma here instead, so that the vocative sort of is on its own And we note here also that the vocative is rearranged here in the in this rearrangement as the first word of the actual verse. And because in the original verse, O sanjaya is placed at the very end, so we have a substantial difference here in between the two arrangements. All right, so we start with O sanjaya. Okay. So dhritarastrah, he said, O sanjaya. So now we go to phrase 3 here, or clause 3, which is a participle. We have a participle here, and we are going to put everything on one line here then. So, but we note here that there is an implicit reference here to the person or the persons who is doing the assembling. So there's, and this is of course a passive participle. So someone or many ones are being assembled. So looking just here, we don't know exactly who those persons are. We have a plural here, the long a with a visarga at the end. So we don't know who they are just yet, but it will be clarified below here. So they are being assembled, since we have a plural, masculine nominative plural. But we'll just write being assembled, and then we have those two locative constructions here with the two compounds working as adverbs or adverbials, specifying the location at which the assembling is going on or is done. So these, you could say, these are adverbs or adverbials of place, not of time or not of manner, but adverbs of place. So we can now write out, let's do something like this: at the field of religious duty, at kuru-ksetre. Something like that. It's a little long, and of course one might want to do this instead, just keeping it a little short. You could do something like this. But the problem here, doing such a, it's more concise, it's shorter, it's easier to read, but the problem is that the very, very important word of religion is lost. So the whole point of this verse and the whole point of the Gita is that there is religious duty to be made or to be done. So it's not just about some duty to go to work at on Monday morning. It's not just like that. It's about one's religious duty on the battlefield here. So I don't really. Of course, one can do something like this, or you can religious maybe, or so you keep a little flavor of the compound and then just stack them up like that. But that gets clumsy too, I think. So so I have to spell it right also. So perhaps the best compromise is to keep it like this. All right, so we'll leave phrase 3 for now, and we'll do phrase 4. And this is a very short one, of course. We have yuyutsavah here, and as we mentioned before in another video, it's a desiderative adjective, and so it has some feel to it of a present participle, present active participle. So desiring to fight, there's a present active participle feel to this word, and just like samavetah up here, it is in the plural, it's nominative plural, masculine nominative plural, although it doesn't have the long a ending here because it's formed from the desiderative adjective stem, which ends in a short u. So yuyutsu, and then it's declined in a masculine declension there with for u nouns, for nouns ending in short u. So anyway, so desiring to fight. So we have being assembled, they are being assembled, and they are desiring to fight. Although we don't write that, but desiring to fight. And then we put the comma here also to note that this is another. You first have being assembled up here, and then desiring to fight. And now we're just about to introduce who these people are, who are both being assembled and who are desiring to fight. And that we will continue doing in part 2 of this video. And until then, thank you very much for watching, and see you in part 2. Hare Krishna. Thank you.